It's Jim Reed with Next Level Coaching. I'm here with one of my favorite coaches, Jonas Rosenberg. Jonas is a loan officer out of what state are you in, Jonas? Where are you at? You're all over
We're
the
in
place.
Washington.
You're in Washington, but you're in like crazy towns that sound like they used to have Indian leaders. What's the name of your towns?
We are in Kennewick, also known as the Tri-Cities, Washington.
Kennewick, Washington. And then where do you live?
So I live in Oak Harbor. My house is about 400 miles away, and my business is here. So
Yes,
a little bit of a strange story, but we're making it work.
I'm jumping in on that. So a lot of people during COVID thought they could move, that this business was easy and we could make a lot of money and it was super easy. And people moved from California to Tennessee and to Texas and out to Montana to do loans in LA. And what happened?
I got humbled.
Everybody got humbled, not just you. Everybody got humbled. Our business is a relationship business. It is not a phone jockey business. It's not a direct mail business. It's a relationship business. And, you know, our company has been referral only the whole time for 28 years that I've been here. But sometimes we start thinking we're better than we are. It's happened to me a couple times. It's happened to Todd. It's happened to you. But now you're doing the grind. You're going home on the weekends, kind of, and you're coming out here because your wife got a job transferred out to this island, right?
Yes, sir.
So now you're trying to figure it out. So you're the road warrior. Not very many people could do it the way you do it, just so you know. Not very many people could keep it up. But your situation's unique. So you're making it work. So since mortgages have changed, so in the last basically a year now, almost exactly is when it started to change. And that's when I said that for the next 2 years, I'm going to earn the income I made in the previous 2 years. Well, it's only been a year, and I'm ready for it to be over. But it's not over, is it?
No, sir.
No. We're seeing banks go out of business. There's a big mortgage company that's based in Florida. I know a lot of people that are originators there. It's getting ready to sell. A couple other ones got bought or merged. And the merging is when you do two mortgage companies merge together to try to eliminate overhead, to try to make it easier to make a profit. It's a mess. This operating system, this loan origination system, this point of sale system, trying to merge them all together with databases, it's a mess. I prefer to just stay right here and do loans. So you've had to rebuild your career. So I didn't really have you prep. So I want you to think of maybe 2 or 3 things that you've done, and we'll talk about them one at a time to kind of rebuild your originations. You're a partner with Manti. You guys had a really big team, and it shrank over time, and now you guys are rebuilding.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So, guys, look, I'll tell you what I told Tom. In the mortgage business, it's a cycle. We build these businesses with these departments and these systems. And then something happens that's beyond our control that changes the whole landscape. And we have to break down the whole business and rebuild it again. So at least it's not boring. That's the way I choose to look at it. But like we used to have a marketing person on a team and 2 loan partner ones and 3 LP2s. And now we're, us and maybe 1 person. And we're having to redo things. So what are the 2 or 3 things that you've done, focused on to kind of help build your business back?
Jimmy, the first thing I had to do is admit that I had a problem. And here's the funny part. My first day of coaching, if you don't have a coach, guys, you're confused. I'm just telling you that right now. My coach right now is Jim Reed, and my first day with him a year ago. Do you remember what you said to me, Jimmy? You called me my first day of coaching.
I don't remember.
You said, "Brother, are you okay?" Oh. And I said, "What?" And you said, "Jonas, you're drifting." And that's when I walked into Manti. I was mad at you, Jimmy, because I was not. I was trying. I just left my wife. I was not. Manti looked at me and goes, "Yes, you are." And as soon as I admitted that I was trying to recreate the wheel and trying to do all the fancy things you said and not doing the basics, Jimmy, my world changed.
Huh. Well, we talk about that. We talk about people either driven, drifting, or directed, right? So driven means you think you can do it all yourself. Driven sounds like a good thing. It doesn't last very long. Driven it sounds like you want to be driven, and I get it. But driven is thinking you can do it all yourself, and no one can. Drifting is when You're kind of confused. The usually when I'm drifting, it's because I think I'm owed something. When I feel like I've done so much, I've done all this, I contribute all that, I'm owed something. Whenever I start to think I'm owed, someone owes me or something owes me, man, I'm about to crash the car every time. So that's if you feel like you're owed or entitled, that's a sign that you may be drifting. Another sign that you may be drifting is you don't seek counsel. You don't like ask advice. You don't trust somebody. You don't pick mentors and trust them. You question everything, and you questioning things isn't bad, but you don't seek advice. That's another sign you may be drifting. Directed is so much easier. Like when I let myself be directed, life is so much easier. I just do what I'm told. I find someone that I trust, that I believe cares about me, that knows that has proven results in the area I want. Like for you, you seem to have a pretty good marriage.
Yes, sir.
I would listen to your advice. Like I would ask you advice about for me and Ann. If I was struggling, you're one of the people I would call because when I see you and your wife together, unless you're good at faking it, brother, you guys look pretty happy. And she clearly puts up with you, right? So that's an
13
idea.
years.
Yeah, that's an idea of being directed, finding someone to listen to. And for a lot of people, they got directed for a little bit, but I feel them starting to drift a little bit. So I'm glad you brought that up. So first thing you said is stop drifting and be directed. I love that. Give me two more things that you did to rebuild.
The second thing is on the greatness tracker, we're supposed to be making our 40 phone calls on Monday. And Jimmy, in the last year, I've had more agents tell me everybody and their brother is calling me. And Jonas, why are you calling me? And when you taught us this, the reasons for calling on Mondays, this truly changed my 40 phone calls, and it made a task that was becoming brutal, becoming achievable.
So so not all these guys that are going to watch this are in our program and know what that is. I learned this from a friend of mine named Oleg. He's one of the best natural salespeople I've ever met. I've created a couple things in my 27 years, but mostly I just copy. So he's the one who made this Monday Realtor Calls better. So the four quadrants showed up again, so they see it if they're watching. What's in the top left corner? Why don't you write the words in it for me? What's in the top left corner?
I'm not going to get the corners correct, but the first one.
Yeah, top left is leads.
Okay.
So you get a piece of paper, and you have a folder, and you have 40 realtors. This is the way we teach it. This is what he's talking about. So I have two folders, odds and evens. So you make a list of 40 realtors, and it's listed, it's counted, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the odd ones go in one folder, and the even ones go in another. And you get a blank piece of paper for each realtor. Across the top, you write their name and their cell phone number. Then you make the cross that we just showed you. And if you're listening, just divide the paper into four quadrants, four equal quadrants. And then on Monday, take some time in the morning and prepare each piece of paper. Write down the leads, write them small, because you're going to keep this stupid piece of paper and add to it. The only time it's going to take a long time to update is the first time. After that, you just got to go back and update from the previous week. It's very easy. So you write down all their leads in the top left side. You write down all the pre-approvals you have with them in the top right side. Well, Jim, what do I do if I don't have any leads with them yet and I don't have any pre-approvals with them yet? It's a good question. So the bottom left side, you write down a sales tip. So a sales tip you got from a podcast, a sales tip you got from Ed Marlette, or whatever that guy's name is that Robin loves to listen to, from one of my interviews on Next Level Coaching, from the sales tip that I send out every week, or one of my coaches does. Get a sales tip. It could be how to work an open house. Could be a great question to ask at an open house. That could be what your sales tip is. Hey, I just heard a really great question to ask at an open house. And they're like, well, what is it? I wanted to share it with you right away. The question is simply this. Hey, show yourself around. Here's a sheet that tells you all about the house. On your way out, I'm just going to ask you one favor. Can you share one thing that you love about the house and one thing that didn't fit for you? The seller's asking for feedback, and I'm keeping a chart, and I want to tell him what's good about the house and maybe what he might want to fix if he wants to sell it faster. What a great question to ask at an open house. So on the way out, you can engage with them as a realtor. That's a sales tip. There are millions. You can Google it. You could ask your coach. So top, bottom left side, you do a sales tip. So the sales tip is for how many weeks? 2 weeks. Because we call 20 the first Monday, 20 the second Monday. So you only need 2 sales tips a month, if that makes sense. So the bottom right corner is an invitation to something. There you go. So you invite them to something. You invite them to a happy hour. You invite them to our leveraged event that's coming up. We do once a month for Summit Funding Loan Officers. Once a month, we do a national video and learn where we organize the guest speaker and you just show up. So you can invite them to that. So it's something to talk about. So instead of calling them and saying, hey, it's Monday, what'd you do this weekend? How'd the open houses go? Who can I follow up on? I mean, that's what I used to say 25 years ago. This is way better. I have to partner. Like what I've told people is right now, you have to be in relationship with the realtors. You have to take great care of them, and you have to do something to help them create sales, right? Instead of being a parasite, you got to do something to help them create more business. So we can talk about that in a minute. So doing the realtor calls that way is great, and executing your greatness chapter. What's one more thing that you've done to kind of rebuild your business?
The last one is my ultimate war cry. You call it highly active and highly visible. I call it get the heck out of the office. We all fell in love with our phones ringing, guys. We all fell in love with just sitting here and taking orders. It doesn't work that way anymore. And Jim, once I forced myself just to get out of the office, it didn't matter. I mean, you have to have a reason to go, but just be around people. Everyone has a sphere of influence. And as soon as I started doing that, the leads started coming in again.
I'm telling you what, dude, I just leave without a reason.
Yep. 100% agree with you.
For a reason, I'll never leave. I just leave without a reason, and it works.
Manta has literally stared me in the face and would go, would you please get out? And I said, what order do you want me? He goes, I don't care. Just go be Jonas. Get out and go spend the day. Jimmy, I come back with leads. It's stranger than heck.
I'm telling you, you bump into somebody, you talk to them for 5 minutes, and you get leads in the next 3 days. It's always been that way in this business. It always will be. So a guy who works for me and a friend of mine named Brett. And Brett, in the last 2 weeks, was given an assignment by his coach. And the assignment is 100 face-to-faces in 2 weeks. So that's 50 face-to-faces a week. There's 5 or 6 days in a week. So if it was 5 days in a week and 50, that's 10 face-to-faces a day. That's a lot. And he's got only, and when I talked to him on Friday, he had only 4 more to hit his 100. So he was going to go do some more open houses. And so guess what my recommendation for him was?
Do more.
Do it again.
Yep.
Imagine if you did it back to back, a whole month.
Yep.
50 face-to-faces a week for a month. Imagine that. Imagine how many people that you've lost touch with that you'll rekindle. Imagine how many new faces you'll meet. Like the truth, Jonas, is this. People are dying. People are moving. Realtors are quitting. New realtors are getting in the business. And I want to be around more new realtors in the business that are not, I don't have that sense of entitlement, but that are working really hard. So I have to be careful. If I'm going to be around a new realtor without proven results, I have to see 3 things. So when I'm talking to a realtor and I'm figuring out if I want to be around them and they're brand new, I got to evaluate their work ethic. I got to find out what made them choose to be a realtor. And I got to find out, are they the primary wage earner in their family? Somehow in my conversation, that's how I qualify a business partner. Because this business is too tough if you don't have to do it. Like if I was married and my wife was a surgeon or something and made $1 million a year, it would be a lot harder to be successful.
100% agree.
Just would. Now, is it still possible? Of course, dude. Of course. but is it likely? Not in my experience. So tell me how you guys how your lead flow is going. How do you guys handle leads? What's your biggest pain point in lead flow right now?
I think our biggest pain point in lead flow, we talked about it last week, is with the cut down in staffing. Mark and I have the balls in the air, and we're really trying to make sure we get to them, still trying to do the face-to-faces, still trying to do the other activities. So we made a change. You had us made a change last week, and it's actually 1 week and being actually effective. What we're doing is the minute one of the two of us get the lead, we're doing a group text with each other. Steve Wilkes, Jonas, and I'm in a meeting. Can you grab? Our big goal always has been call the lead back in 5 minutes, no matter where we are. And since we have lost our LP1, there's two of us here. So we're trying to communicate together. The second tactic, Jim, is the 4 o'clock text. We are sending each other.
Yep, but hold on. So lots of people don't understand what you just said.
Okay.
So I believe that answering the phone or calling a lead, calling someone back within 5 minutes is a big, big deal.
It is Mark and I's number one goal.
Yeah, yes, but people say, well, Jim, you teach time blocking. And yes, so I'm in the middle of a loan consultation, or I'm in the middle of a meeting with Tiffany, my ops manager, and my phone rings and it's one of my best realtors. Should I take it?
Absolutely, but you have to have a tactic.
Yes. So I take it and I say, hey, Victoria, it's Jim. I took the call because it was you. I'm actually in a meeting. What can I do to help you? And I have my calendar with me always, and I'll tell her I can call you back at 2:15. She says, don't call me back. Just call Bill Smith at 2:15, 999-999-9999. Okay, Bill Smith, 2:15. I'll call Bill Smith at 2:15. I'll call you after. Thanks a lot. Bye. Click. How long was that?
All of 2 minutes.
Not even 2 minutes, buddy. So, and then I go back to my ops manager and say, hey, I'm sorry I had to take that call. It was a new lead. She says, what? No problem.
She said, not a problem.
No problem. I don't need to stop what I'm doing, excuse myself from the meeting, go to jump on this call, stay on the call for 30 minutes with this realtor, forget and disrespect my ops manager and not go back. That's not what I'm saying. Don't do that. Just take the call real quick. Now, if it's a borrower, I see the call. I'm saying, hey, Tiff, I got to answer this. Hey, this is Jim Reed. And they say, hey, I got your name and number from Victoria. Oh, I'm so glad I answered the phone. I'm actually stepping into a meeting. Is it okay if I tell you the process? And answer any questions you have before I go into the meeting? They're like, sure. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to have Rebecca, or if I didn't have a team member, I'd say, if it's okay with you, I'm going to call you back at 2:15. At 2:15, we're going to schedule a time to meet in person, and I'm going to tell you what documents I need and help you get pre-approved. Are you looking at making an offer today? They say yes or no. If they say yes, I put a couple big nasty asterisks by that 2:15 call to make dang sure I don't miss it, because they're going to make an offer today. Great, I will talk to you at 2:15. Click. But I wrote it on my calendar, so as long as I stick to my calendar, I'm not gonna miss it. And I just think that we got to the point where we didn't have to do that, and we could still make a lot of money. And those days are gone for now.
Agreed.
They're gone for now. So, what are you guys doing to create sales with your realtors?
So what do you mean there?
I don't know. Like I'm thinking, and I don't know if you're doing anything yet, but I'm like, how do you show up for a realtor different? What's your unique value proposition?
So my big thing is my personality. I want every one of my realtors, just like you said, they come first in my life. Of course, Jesus and my wife come before them, but I need them to know they're good. So one of my realtors this evening, I am going over with 22 realtors, and we are going to be having a phone call night. That is an added value that most loan officers will not take from 4 to 7.
That is for sure creating sales. So tell us what you're doing.
So what we're doing is we are taking their former clients and my former clients, and we've invited an insurance agent and their rental list. And we're going to be calling each of our clients saying, hello, this is Jonas over at Summit Funding. Just want to check in, see if there's anything I can do for you. By the way, I have one of Tri-City's top real estate agents, and I have my insurance agent sitting here next to me. Could we do a review for you on either side? I would be happy to pass the phone. And
Wow.
tonight we'll be passing the phone. Now, the insurance people are bringing 4 people. The real estate agents have 22 signed up. So I will have plenty of help behind me as I'm calling my list. They will be calling their list, basically saying the same thing. I have a lender. I have a real estate agent. Is there any questions we can answer for you? I would be happy to pass the phone.
So powerful. Like realtors don't want to make calls either.
No, sir.
Like we don't want to make calls. But if you get together and you do it together, even just for an hour, you're doing something that other loan officers aren't doing with them. Now, what a lot of people will do is make the mistake of doing that tactic with the wrong person. Right? You don't want to go do that with someone who has no business and is brand new. Who are they going to call? For someone who's brand new and has no business, there's only one thing they should do. They should be working open houses, and lots of them. They should be doing one on Thursday night, one on Saturday, and one on Sunday. If they're a brand new realtor, those 4 days are their work days. Period. Thursday at 5:30 in a neighborhood, a bedroom neighborhood where people are driving home and they rent in that neighborhood and they see an open house of a house in that neighborhood that they could buy someday. They'll stop by and you'll get to know the neighborhood as a realtor. On the weekends, one on Saturday and one on Sunday after church. Those are your 3 days of work you have to be doing as a realtor for your first 12 or 18 months in the business. And then you get about past clients, you start getting past client referrals, and you'll start to get lazy like the rest of us and stop doing open houses. But if you're going to do a call night, you want to go with a big, long-term top realtor and be a resource for them. I think that is brilliant. Like, have you guys done this yet? Is this your first time?
Tonight's our first night.
Yeah, I will be anxious to see how it goes.
I'm very excited, but I think it'll be well.
What do you think are some good assignments? Like you coach, you're one of our best coaches at Summit. Um, you know, one of the things you said is the way you get realtor business is your personality.
Yes, sir.
And not everybody has your personality. So for people who maybe aren't as, you're kind of a really rare combination of non-threatening, but super like, you don't really take no for an answer, but you're non-threatening. It's a very rare combination. It's super special. It's super cool. Like me, I'm kind of threatening. I'm like a little East Coast, maybe a little bit too much East Coast. I don't know, but I also won't give up, similar to you. And I can be charming, just like you, but you have it at a different level. So for those people who maybe don't have that naturally, what are some assignments that you would give them?
Right now, if you're not doing open houses, at least 8 a weekend, you're confused. Number one, you get to be around realtors. Number two, you get to be around prospective clients. Last month, Jimmy, it wasn't a great month for us, but 2 of our closings were from those open houses.
Well, I think anybody would take 1 or 2 more closings each month right now.
Yes, sir.
Like I was talking to my branch. I've got 23 originators. I'm like, and our production is barely break even. Imagine if every single one of them did just 1 more loan a month.
Yeah.
They'd all make more money and the people around here would be supported. So 1 or 2 more loans a month is a lot right now. I think like there's a saying in the business that says if you do your theme days and you make all your calls, you don't got to work on the weekend.
Not true anymore.
I don't know if it's true right now. I think it'll be true again soon, but I don't know if it's true right now. I think that very few of us are making all of our calls every week. So I think none of us really know if it's true or not. And I think that if you call realtors on Mondays, given the tactic we went over today, you call your updates yourself. No one should be delegating up Tuesday updates at this point. If you are, stop it. You make the calls. You call 30 past clients or 15 or 30 past clients on Wednesday. You call all your pre-approvals on Thursday and the realtors you haven't pre-approved with. And you call some VIPs on Friday. If you did it every week and you made all your calls, you might not have to work those weekends. But I don't know that anybody really knows it. So when you look forward into the summer, what are you seeing on your lead tracker and your greatness tracker? What are you guys expecting to close? You know, one of the things about next level coaching is we don't hide and we don't BS, right? We keep it up, we do the work and we keep it real. So what are you guys expecting to close in March and what's April look like and how are things trending up? How are you feeling?
I got to remember where I'm at. It is March now, so we're closing 7 in March. We are expecting 10 in April, and it's getting busier. The loans are still difficult with these interest rates, but guys, be relentless. Be absolutely relentless. Keep calling these folks. Some of these folks need to push off the fence. One example is it took me 12 phone calls to catch a lead, 12 times to catch a lead. We're
Wow.
closing him this month. But it was 12 initial phone calls from the realtor because he was so on the fence. And finally, when I got him on the phone, Mr. Rosenberg, I apologize for wasting your time. I just don't know if my family and I can handle these interest rates. The answer was, sir, can I get you in the house so we can, or excuse me, in the office so we can piece the puzzle together? All I wanted was the appointment so we could find out what his objections were. Jimmy, he's getting a house this month.
That's a beautiful story. You know, on the lead tracker, we say you got to call 7 times before you give up. You called how many?
I called 12, and at this point, until somebody tells me to stop calling them or gets a restraining order, Jimmy, we're going backwards almost 6 months now on anybody that we haven't touched with. We're staying relentless on these folks. We have to.
Another great assignment is to go back 6 months on your lead trackers and call every lead that you don't know what happened to it. Either did a loan for them or they're pre-approved with you. Those ones set aside, call everybody else and start calling them every week until they tell you to stop.
Guys, I'll be transparent with you. I'm in trouble with Jim a lot because when we look at my lead tracker, my past clients and current clients are right below my realtors. The reason why is I'm always calling backwards because these folks are scared and they need their handheld. And if you only try once or twice, they're not going to do business with you because they need somebody that's going to stay in their corner.
Well, what are you doing about rates? Like everybody says, that there's, people with 2% lower rates out there doing loans and they're losing every loan. And like, how are you handling shoppers and rates? And what do you think about that topic?
Am I allowed to be transparent on here?
Yeah.
I don't care.
Okay.
I am so tired of hearing the world's blowing up. I am so tired of hearing the media this and the media that. Jim Reed, I just got your name from Sally. You want to get a loan?
Well, what do you do when they shop you?
So you know what? The first thing that we do is get them in. If you do not have them in, and this comes right out of your playbook, Jim, and have them sign something while they are in, you're making a huge mistake. Matter of fact, Mark and I are dealing with that right now. We are in our second day of competing against a bank. They're under the contract. Mark had that man sign 7 pieces of paper last night. He has not signed anything at the other bank. Mark walks in with that.
Yeah, hold on. So when he's having him sign stuff, guys, we're saying sign the IRLA and the 4506T and the Social Security validation and the borrower certification. And it's a sales step. It is, they came in, met with you to get pre-approved. You got all their stuff uploaded into our system. You did your professional presentation. You print out some paperwork and you have them sign it. You tell them, hey, I'm having you sign this because I'm good. That way I can get your loan pre-approved and underwritten. And when you get in a contract, I can be quicker so we can close faster. And you hand them a pen and paper. And they're either going to sign it or they're not. When they won't sign it, what's it mean?
They weren't bought in anyway. We missed something.
They weren't planning on using you.
Yep.
They used you for information. But at least now you know. And you can ask them, why won't you sign it? Well, the other guy I got pre-approved with didn't ask me to sign anything. Oh.
Jimmy, you saved me so much time. The one thing that you told me to stop was sending out LEs without them coming in the office. I was doing that and I was confused. I was wasting my time.
Never email an LE. If someone emails you and says, hey, can you send me an LE? First of all, the fact that they know the terminology should be a warning sign. And if you are going to compete on rate and expect to be paid amongst the highest in commissions, it's not going to happen, right? It's just not. So it should be a warning sign. And at that point, you should try to re-engage on the sales process. Try and go for trust them. Someone asked me for an LE, said, sure, we'll get to that. How'd you get referred to me again? What'd they say about me? Hey, the reason they refer me is because whatever I say I'll do, I've always done for 25 years. And the only way I know how to do that is I meet all my clients in person. I get all their questions answered at one time, all their objections. If they've got other lenders, we look at it together. The truth is, if I'm not the best place for you, I'll probably tell you. But you can't just send them, you can't just let them lead the sales process. You just can't do it. You just can't. When you get into a competitive situation like that, I mean, how often does it happen?
Right now, probably about 60% of the time.
60.
Yes, sir.
Normal is 20. Like in any market, 20% of the time you're going to get shopped. Like no matter how low of a rate you quote, 20% of the time you're going to get shopped. So I'm saying that out loud so everybody that can hear us can say, hey, you got to understand there's no way possible to not get shopped 20% of the time. Because some people, that's just who they are. And that's fine, whatever. When it goes up this high, it is because it's so prevalent in the news, and it will be for another year. I said 2 years of this.
Yep.
1 year ago. You don't get to have a 12-year run, okay? 12-year run in our industry of good times and only have to pay for it with one down year. It's just not realistic. It's never happened before where you only had to pay for it for 1 year. It's 2 years. Look at history. So the way you get through it is to do what Jonas taught you today. Don't be drifting. Be directed. Man, that 100 face-to-faces in 2 weeks is unbelievable. Do that. That's what you do pretty much every day of your life, and get back down and do the blue collar stuff without skipping steps. Jonas, thanks for being on. What else would you leave these guys with today if you were going to give them any advice? Everybody wants to do more loans. Everybody wants to make more money. Everybody's worried about getting shopped. You know, what would you tell them?
The last time I was on here with you, I gave my number one way for doing business, and I'd love to do it again. Guys, go deeper with your realtors. If you're not going out to dinner with them, if they're not coming over to your house, if you're not being a part of their lives, you don't have them. They don't belong in your A realtors. My number one realtors and I go out to dinner once a week. They've come up to the island. Please be a part of their lives. They want you to be.
Wow. Wow. That is better. And by the way, it's more fun. And when you do mess up, they give you grace.
Absolutely, because you know what kind of drink they want. Hey, Jim, I'm bringing over the 2 bottles of the Jose. We got a problem on the Johnsons. It's a lot easier to solve it at the last minute when they love you.
Yeah. All right. Hey, listen, thanks again for being on, buddy.
Thanks for having me, bud.
Yeah, go get me some more loans. I will see you later. Bye.
Bye.